Thank you all. My name is Dave Javid with Plan to Place. I'm part of the consultant team led by Perkins and Will, and we're here tonight for our first workshop for the East Side Innovation District Vision Planning Process in San Carlos. So thank you so much for joining us here this evening. And before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Mayor Palmer Lohan to welcome us. Mayor, I believe you're on mute. Thank you. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much, Dave, and welcome everyone to the first workshop to discuss the East Side Innovation District Plan Project. San Carlos's East Side has historically been home to low-intensity commercial and industrial businesses providing services, supplies, and electronics. Over the past decade, new ideas and business concepts have emerged, and today we are witnessing more biotechnology, life sciences, and high-tech offices enter the space. In 2020, the San Carlos City Council began to take notice and made a commitment to be proactive in planning for this future transformation. The goal of the East Side Innovation District Vision Plan is to set forth policies to manage this change and ensure that it serves our community through good design, improvements to our streets for better connections, walking and biking, and that other community benefits add real value to the city. The city staff has worked very hard to reach out to community members and stakeholders, and I'd like to thank all of you for joining, and I hope you stay connected and continue to participate and be engaged throughout the life of this project. And now I'd like to turn the mic over to Community Development Director Al Savay. Thank you so much and enjoy the evening.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Good evening, and thank you very much for taking time out of your evening to join us. I think you're going to find that this is a very interesting and important discussion that we're having this evening, and it's really just the start of this discussion about the East Side Innovation District Vision Plan. So for tonight's agenda, the mayor started with a welcome, and we'll be introducing you to our team this evening. We'll talk a little bit about the project, and I'm going to provide a little bit of an overview about orientation, and we'll have a discussion about some information that I think you'll find interesting and helpful as we go forward and talk about various issues later this evening. And this is really meant to be an interactive discussion. And so what we've done, and Dave, our facilitator who started the meeting, will talk about how to do this in more detail, but tonight we're going to have breakout discussions. And so what we're going to do is have some rooms for you to go into, and you can go into any room you want. And Dave, again, is going to explain how to do that. But we'll have a discussion room about circulation, about mix of uses in the area, open space, and the environment. So again, you can jump from room to room and join the discussion, make your point, and then move on. So that's our discussion this evening. And okay, next please. All right, so I've been introduced. I'm Al Savay, Community and Economic Development Director with the City of San Carlos, and this is our City of San Carlos team. We have Lisa Porras, who is our project manager. She's also the city's planning manager. And we have Lisa Costa Sanders, our principal planner and consultant to the city. Okay. So what I'd like to do is just orient everybody for a moment. And what you see here is a map of the vision plan area. And you'll see on the screen that those dotted or dashed blue lines there, and that's the boundary of the vision district plan area. And as you can see, at the southern end, you have Bretton Avenue. At the northern end, Terminal Way, Old County Road. Along the lower part of the screen, and Highway 101 is the other boundary there. And you can see that it also goes along Industrial Road and across Hawley, and it encompasses the In-N-Out Burger site and the public storage facility that's right behind there. And so why this area? Why is it this boundary in particular? And the reason is, as you know, there's a project that's under construction nearing completion on Industrial Way in the 800 block of Industrial. And this project is the Alexandria project. It's being constructed by Alexandria Real Estate Group. And it's a life sciences biotechnology building and nearing construction. And really, it was a pioneering project. This is the first large project in this area. And really, it's usually when this happens in a city, it can provide a catalyst for other like-minded development to occur. And that's what happened here is other like-minded developers in this biotech life sciences space began to look at the area. And as the mayor mentioned, these are low-slung buildings, and really things haven't changed in this area for 40, 50 years or more. The buildings have remained the same. And it's really a fantastic ecosystem for small business in our community. We've had manufacturing, a real big mix of uses in this area that's really sustained our community economically for many years, many decades. So other developers like MBC Biotech built a building along Britain. You've seen that go up as well. And other developers began to submit applications in this area for similar types of development. And so we had this event where there was a lot of activity in terms of applications coming through the city in this area. And so this is where the activity is at this time in terms of applications. And that's why the city wanted to take a step back and take a holistic view of this area before considering these applications going forward. Okay. And so in terms of the timeline of this project, it's a fairly quick project. As you can see on the screen there, we anticipate completion at the end of September. And right now in the spring, we're really in an exploratory phase. We're in a discovery phase of this project. And we're in community workshop number 1. You're in on the ground floor, which is a great thing. And no plan is really successful unless we have collaboration and discussion with the folks in the community and stakeholders. And you see that there's a number of stakeholder meetings that are scattered throughout the timeline there. And when I talk about stakeholders, what I mean is it could be developers, property owners, business owners, could be other groups in the community. So we want to talk to those specific communities and get their input as well as the broader community. And so that's part of it. So there will be lots of chances for you to interact in this process. In addition, it's a step-by-step approach, right? So we gather information and then we come up with some ideas based on the information that we gather from the community and what we learn from our research and analysis of this area. And so each community meeting is a progression, and you'll see more and more information and more decision points that we want the community to weigh in on. Next. And so we couldn't do this without the assistance of experts. And so we've teamed up with a group called Perkins and Will, and they're experts in urban design, architecture, management, and landscape design. And they brought on to the team a number of other experts to assist us in community engagement, economics, engineering, infrastructure, and transportation. And many of those folks are here this evening to assist the discussion as you get into these breakout rooms. And so you'll meet some of these folks. They'll be able to answer questions as well as city staff in these rooms. That concludes my remarks this evening, and I'm going to go ahead and hand it back over to Dave.
Great, thank you, Al. Thanks for that. So before we launch into the presentation, we really just wanted to get a sense of who's here with us tonight. So we put together a short demographic survey that you will see launched on your screen here momentarily. And if you could just take a few seconds here to answer some of these questions for us, and then we'll share this back out with everyone. So the first question is, what is your age? Second question is, what is your race and ethnicity? And the final question is, which of the following describes why you decided to come to tonight's workshop? And again, it would be great just to get a quick snapshot of who's here with us, and we'll have chances to talk to you more as we get into the small groups. As Al mentioned, I'm just gonna wait maybe 10 more seconds here. Looks like you all are jumping in there quickly. Thanks so much. Maybe just a couple more seconds, then we'll take a quick look at this. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the poll now. And you all should be able to see the results. We don't need to go into this in great detail, but you get a sense of just general age and ethnicity and the breakout there. And then interestingly, the question about which of the following describes why you decided to join us here tonight, we have a pretty good mix. More than half of you live in San Carlos, others work in San Carlos. And fortunately, many of you want to know about this process. So that's all great news and good to see. So thank you again for taking time to take that survey with us. This will also be included in the summary notes that we share out after the meeting itself. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing those results for now, and I'm going to hand it over to Geeti to get us started.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Al. Definitely very excited to be here on behalf of the consultant team. I am Geeti Silwal. I'm an urban design principal in Perkins & Will San Francisco office, and really excited to see so many of you will come out and join us in a conversation. This is the first of more conversations we'll have with you. And like Al mentioned, this is an exploratory stage. We are still gathering information, and all your feedback is going to be super valuable for us to kind of think about how we want to move forward, how we want to kind of really chart a framework for the San Carlos East Side Innovation District, and what does that mean for you? So to jump in, we have definitely been excited by the vast array of work that you've already done. There's been a lot of good thinking on the ground in terms of recent streets and infrastructure planning. And we're building off of these recent work and the work that's happening on the climate mitigation and the general plan housing update. We're sharing notes, and we are definitely trying to stay informed through the city staff to make sure whatever we propose here is not kind of looked at in isolation, but is informed by all the other conversation that's happening in this region. And I'll kind of introduce to you to the site, but just to zoom out for a little bit, the site that's the study area is 150 acres approximately. But for us coming into this process, it's important to not just kind of look within the lines, because it's part of a larger fabric. It's part of your city of San Carlos. So what does it mean to sit there adjacent to the residential neighborhood, but also kind of being really close to the life and activity of downtown, knowing there's a really rich industrial arts district, the San Carlos Airport in the Redwood Shores. All of this kind of inform the context and inform some of the thinking that will then help us kind of weave the fabric and weave the kind of thinking for what really needs to happen within the extent of our site. So looking at what the site looks like right now, I mean, for all of you who live there, who work there, you're very familiar with all the streets and you walk these areas every time, but every day. But for us, there it could be for a newcomer or a passerby, they might just kind of perceive this as an industrial warehouse fabric, maybe not a whole lot of green space or kind of even the tree canopy missing there, but it has a lot of assets. And as we have dived into this context and kind of researched and being informed by the city and really rich conversation with the stakeholders, we started to realize the kind of rich, really jewels that exist in this area. And we want to recognize this. This area has a really important industrial legacy. And we want to make sure that whatever we do doesn't in any way hinder the kind of importance of this area. Clearly, it's emerging as a new innovation, but it's being informed by a whole lot of institutions and agencies and organizations and businesses that are that provide amenities and services for the larger county and the larger region. So that is really important for us to recognize. We do know that this is kind of changing in its kind of offering right now. It's adapting itself to provide the innovation and technology jobs that are focused on the current needs of our societies, and it has this life sciences focus. But some of the industries that have emerged from this area have been the foundation of the Silicon Valley. So though this project only recognizes this as an innovation district now, it's always been very rich in its offering of innovation for the entire peninsula. So that's something we want to recognize, and that's something we want to make sure there is space for the new, but there's also kind of an opportunity to continue to let the businesses that have been here to thrive and for them to operate successfully. So to take a step back for a brief few minutes here and to kind of really understand the terminology, the innovation district, you know, we come to this with knowledge of having delivered on some successful innovation districts from across the nation. And for us, it's important to understand that this is about really leveraging and making sure there is the opportunity for economic drivers that the city and the community can leverage and the region can leverage. And it really builds on the assets of this place. But added on top of the economic driver is also the fact that this should be an opportunity for this fabric to be a place such that it has an identity, such that it has a character, it has an experience that's attractive. It is another place for you to kind of really find attractive to be there and to go there and want to kind of enjoy. So what does that mean for the innovation district in East San Carlos? And what's the culture that it wants to kind of really portray, and what does it want to offer for people living here and people visiting here? It doesn't want to compete with the industrial arts district. It definitely doesn't want to be downtown, but it could have its own identity and it could have its own offering. So this is an opportunity for you to help us inform what that wants to be and what's the possibility here, knowing that there are new businesses coming in and there are more players here. And we want to make sure that you are able to shape that future for your own city. And also taking a brief kind of minute here to talk about district. We call this an innovation district. So when we use the word district, we are very intentional. It is about really looking at ways that what moves forward, the framework that this vision plan will put in place leverages or shares amenities and facilities and networks such that there is definitely a more holistic and a more impactful thinking. And there isn't a piecemeal kind of approach as to different developments, different parcels doing their own thing. We want to make sure there's dialogue between all of that. And we want to make sure that the sum of all the offerings will be a win-win for everybody, for people living there and for the businesses, new businesses coming in, but also for the businesses that exist. So what might be that framework from an offering of shared utilities, shared parking? Are there ways to look at open spaces? Are there ways to look at just a kind of street fabric? All of this kind of can inform and can really change the character and change the experience of this fabric of your city. So taking a little bit of a snapshot of what we've been reading on this of this area, clearly it has had a chance to really be informing and thinking holistically about some of the life sciences uses that are coming into place, but also recognizing that there's heavy industrial business here. There is a lot of surface parking and loading areas. That's the kind of character of this place. There are auto-related uses, and there's a whole ecosystem of those uses and the kind of construction industry, building material kind of uses. But then there's also nature, which kind of gets overlooked. And is there an opportunity for us to see and to surface some of the assets of this area and be able to kind of build on that? We definitely want to make sure we have that conversation with you today and understand what's important for you and what's the kind of opportunity that you see that we need to leverage through this vision plan. So to have this discussion, we want to make sure that we hear from all of you on these three top topics. And we'll be using the remaining hour and a half to facilitate an open house covering these three topics: circulation, mix of uses, open space, and environment. Similar to how we would have run this workshop if we would have been with you in person, which we are not. This is happening virtually, but we want to make sure that you get to weigh in on all the three topics. And these topics have actually emerged from past conversation with stakeholders and city officials. So we know we already know that these are priorities for this visioning plan process. We're going to share with you a short summary of these findings, and our hope is that you'll find and you'll provide us further insights so that we can have a holistic understanding of your thoughts and understand what's the kind of knowledge you have on the ground that could infuse our process and that could infuse our work moving forward. Talking about circulation, what we've heard. And this is definitely not news to you, but kind of just reiterating what we have learned. Sidewalks are not consistent throughout the districts and are often obstructed by car movements and other objects. Sometimes there are no sidewalks, and newer sidewalk improvements help illustrated what could be here. It's already an aspiration that we've heard from all of you. There are assets. There's access to Caltrain, and the pedestrian underpasses are very important. And that's what's helped you stay connected to the rest of your fabric. The diagram here illustrates area where sidewalk coverage is lacking. That's shown in red. And the green dashed line are indicating the proposed bicycle priority routes from the city's 2020 bicycle and pedestrian master plan. And the vision plan right now that we are engaging you in is an opportunity to consider what has been proposed in this plan and look for ways to implement the community's vision and to add to what you think could be further enhanced from and building on the work that's happened. So we're looking forward to hearing from you, and where would you like to see improvements in the district as far as mobility and circulation are concerned, and what would make this more safe, comfortable, kind of walking, biking environment. So when you join the circulation breakout session, please feel free to share your thoughts and help us kind of really have a more holistic understanding of your aspirations for under this topic. The next topic or the next breakout session that you'll have an opportunity to join is around the mix of uses. What we've heard so far is that the industrial uses here today serve the greater region. They're sitting in the city's kind of extent, but they really serve a larger region, and they have a need. Industrial, as a terminology, covers so many different business types, and it's from cement mixing, like we said, and woodworking and breweries. But it's also now about the new life sciences that's emerging. And this is the next chapter in the innovation story of the East Side. But we definitely want to recognize as the smaller businesses, the smaller industries that thrive over here. And we do also know, though the residential fabric is not within the extent of the study area, but they're in such close proximity. So we have to be mindful of the fact that that's a use that's right adjacent, and we have to understand the needs that need to be balanced with that use being close by. So this diagram illustrates a mix of different uses found in the area today, with dots indicating a snapshot of total businesses. There are many thriving small businesses, and the clustering of these businesses is an asset. And we have spoken to the owners, and we've got a sense of what it is to have been here for decades with the businesses, and what does it mean for them or what's the aspiration for them as this neighborhood continues to transform. So we want to discuss with you further what's a mix of uses that you would like to see in the East Side going forward, how new uses might make this a more inviting and humane district for a diversity of people, and kind of makes it more inviting for people from more walks of life. So please share your thoughts on the topic when you do get into that breakout group. Lastly, we wanted to kind of keep a focus on open space and environment. And what we have heard, there are many concerns about the history of environmental degradation in the area. There are factories and manufacturing plants of the past that have really not paid attention to some of the contaminations that they have had on the soil and the water and all of the air quality. And we want to make sure that we have a chance to kind of really rectify some of that and look at strategies that might address some of those concerns. And this diagram illustrates 100-year and a 500-year flood zone, as well as the impermeable surface parking areas. This is an area with significant stormwater challenges, and there are very few areas for water to go with the current development pattern and the paved area. And we want to find ways to kind of really address some of that and see how that might reflect in the identity and the kind of experience of this place. So your thoughts on the subject? Again, there's a breakout session for that, and we'd love to hear your thoughts. So again, very quick preliminary readings of what we've been hearing, and we want to make sure we get to hear more from you so that we have a holistic understanding. Over to you, Dave.
Great, thank you so much for that, Geeti. I just wanted to note, we do see some comments coming in through chat. Thank you so much for those. Please take those comments with you. There's some questions about the project boundary and others. Please take those questions with you to the small groups. Any questions that we can't answer here tonight, we will definitely address during our report out and the summary notes for this meeting. So thank you for keeping those questions coming in. And I think there's going to be a lively discussion happening within these groups, which is great. So as Geeti mentioned, we are now going to transition to those small groups. And what you're going to see next is you're going to see something pop up on your screen, much like what you see here, that'll ask you to join one of 3 groups. And you're free to move around within groups when you're there, but we ask that you try to visit each one of these groups tonight so that you can have an opportunity to speak about them. We're going to switch every 30-minute intervals. We're going to ask to kind of transition to another group. And we do have quite a few people here with us tonight. So we ask that if you see more than about 30 people in a group, you might want to start with a different group first and come back to that one, just to give enough space for everyone to be able to share input here tonight. So you'll see updates coming throughout the time when you're in those small groups. I'll let you all know when we're getting to the 15-minute point, when we have 10 minutes left and 5 minutes left. And then at the beginning of every 30 minutes, the facilitators in those groups will have an opportunity to quickly kind of walk you through the different questions that are being asked, give you a snapshot of what's been discussed from the previous sessions, and really open it up for you all to provide input either verbally through the Q&A function. You could use the hand raise function. We'll show you kind of what that looks like here in a second. And or you could do it through chat, and that'll all be captured onto a virtual board that we're working with. You'll see sticky notes moving around a virtual board that will all be captured there and then synthesized again as we move forward in putting together the summary notes. Actually, Geeti, I'm sorry, if you can go back one slide real quick. I did mention one thing. So at the end of the 30-minute time frame, at the bottom of your screens, you all will see this breakout room symbol. If you click that breakout room symbol at any time, actually, that you want to move to a different room, those same options that you see there will pop back up on your screen. And if you're in room 1, it'll give you an option to move to room 2 or 3, and vice versa, or you can move back to the main room. So it's basically a free-flowing open house style format that allows you all to move around freely. And we are going to try to end the meeting at 8 o'clock, but that's going to give us a good hour and a half of discussion with those 30-minute intervals. So thank you, Geeti. If we can go on to the next slide. So as I mentioned earlier, while you're in those rooms, we're going to take verbal comments through the raise hand feature. Depending on what format you're using with your Zoom, and it might be a small hand at the bottom of your screen, or you might have a reactions little symbol. If you click that, you'll see raised hand there. I assume you all have been on Zoom along with the rest of us this past year, probably all experts, but just as a reminder. And then as I mentioned earlier, in the chat window, you could also use that to ask questions or comments, and all that information will be captured onto the virtual board. So with that, these are going to be your lead facilitators in each one of the groups. For circulation, Phil Olmsted from Nelson Nygaard, who's helping with the circulation component of this project. Geeti, you've met, will be doing the mix of uses room. And Annie Ryan, also with Perkins and Will, as a project manager for this project, will also be in the open house and environment room. So you get to meet members of the project team. You'll also have many members of city staff in those rooms as well to help answer questions. So there'll be resources available there as well. So with that, I think we are ready to go ahead and launch into the rooms. And again, if you have any issues, I'll be in the main room and could definitely help you navigate, get you into the room you need to go. So no anxiety, it'll all work out. And I'm sure you all will have a great time. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and open the rooms. You're going to see something pop up on your screen to ask you to enter into the room that you'd like to go into, and we'll see you back at the next workshop. Again, you're free to leave whenever you'd like, but we hope you stay around and visit all of the rooms. Have a great time.